Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to the Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz around your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ. Thanks for tuning in during this very slow offseason. As we know, we've been talking about that incessantly because there isn't a lot to talk about, right? We haven't made a lot of huge, splashy moves. Everything's kind of been like super quiet on the offseason, so we're just doing what we can to keep the jonesing at bay until puck drop October 7th. And so, as you know, if you've been watching this channel, I record all the way through in just one take. So there's no edits. So just the honest truth, warts and all. So let's get into the top 4 topics of today, all done in one shot. So if the Blackhawks are going to take any real step forward this season, it starts with one guy, Connor Bedard, as we've talked about before. But it's not just about goals or highlights. Consistency at center, especially in the face-off dot, could be the difference between another developmental year and a legit breakout. Bedard has been Chicago's best player since the moment he stepped on the ice, honestly. We all know that. But heading into year 3 and the final year of his entry-level deal, the Hawks need more from him. He's got to grow into a true top-line center, and that starts with face-offs. The team finished last season winning just 44.8% of their draws, near the bottom of the league, and Bedard just 38.3% on the season. That number absolutely has to improve if he's going to drive play the way that elite centers do. So the good news is that help is on the way. New assistant coach Michael Pekka, who helped turn the Rangers into a much better playoff team, is now in charge of fixing that part of the Blackhawks game. Expect him to work closely with both Bedard as well as Frank Nazar in camp. And if they can take a step in the dot, it's going to open up a lot more possession and scoring chances for us all. But look, winning faceoffs is just one of the pieces of the puzzle. Last summer, the Hawks signed Tyler Bertuzzi and Teuvo Teravainen to help give Bedard better line mates. But for whatever reason, he barely played with either of them when it was 5-on-5. Instead, he spent most of his even strength minutes with Ryan Donato, Ilya Mikheyev, and Nick Foligno. Not bad players, obviously, but let's be real, it's not exactly stacking the deck for your franchise cornerstone. One of Jeff Blashill's biggest priorities needs to be locking in Bedard's line mates early and then sticking with them. Build that continuity, build that comfort and just knowledge of playing with each other. They get to know each other. No more blender, no more switching lines around seemingly every night. Give number 98 some consistency. Donato actually had a career year playing alongside Bedard. He had 31 goals. 9 of them were assisted by Connor. Mikheyev brings speed. Burakovsky brings upside too if he plays healthy. And Oliver Moore, if he sticks around, brings some serious wheels. And yes, I'd love to see Bedard and what he could do with more speed in a regular season setting. Even if Moore starts the year in Rockford, that's going to be a combo that can really turn a lot of heads. Or Nick Lardis, So here's a question. Who should Bedard's line mates be on opening night? Do you want consistency with Donato? I mean, it did work last year. A fresh start with Burakovsky? Or do you want to see what he can do with a burner like Oliver Moore? Let me know in the comments. It's always fun to talk about, right? Opinions are just opinions, but it's always fun to put them out there. So let me know. Moving on from there, and since we just talked about him, let's talk about Mr. Oliver Moore. He isn't just hoping to make the Blackhawks this fall. He's coming into camp expecting to. And after a strong summer and a good look in the NHL last year, he might just be ready to stick. So Moore spent the offseason grinding in the gym, on the ice, and even on his phone. The 20-year-old forward used the Blackhawks' internal app, Madhouse, great name, to watch clips from his first 9 NHL games over and over again. He broke down his own tape, picked apart his own good and bad habits, and locked in wherever he needed to improve. And here's what stood out to him. He was getting to the right spots with his speed, but physically he just wasn't strong enough yet to finish the plays or to hold his own in the corners. So what did he do? He bulked up. Moore ended last season at 187 pounds. Now he's up to 195 pounds. And he's not just adding weight, he's working on how to use that additional mass. And he says, quote, "I think I'm in a good spot. Moore said at the NHLPA Rookie Showcase. I had a really good summer in the gym, and now it's about putting it away and having that mentality too, end quote. And that mind shift, or that mindset shift is big. Moore knows he's got the wheels, everybody does, but now he wants to turn that speed into goals and into impact. So where Moore starts this season, Chicago or over in Rockford, is still kind of up in the air. The front offices see the path. They know that he's close. They just like with Frank Nazar last year, they won't rush it. Nazar went to Rockford, lit it up, and ended the year as arguably the team's best forward. Now he's locked up long term. Moore's seen the comparisons to Nazar, to other NTDP guys, to past first rounders, but he's not trying to be the next anyone. He's focused on his own game. And he said, if you just play your game, believe in yourself. And that's what Frankie did so well, and I think that's what I've got to do too. It's talking about Nazar. End quote. And don't think for a second that he's walking into camp content to be in Rockford. His goal, NHL opening night. I want to play for the Chicago Blackhawks this year, and I'm willing to do a lot to make that happen. So Mr. Moore said. And by the way, Moore's already building chemistry off the ice. He was a part of the group that got invited to look to Nick Foligno's summer cabin. Fishing, lake time, team bonding. He called it one of the best parts of his summer. He didn't have to do that, but he did, Moore said. It helped me feel more comfortable, and I even learned how to fish. And hey, who doesn't love fishing? So what do you think? Is Oliver Moore ready to make the opening night roster, or would some time in Rockford help him take that next step? Let me know your thoughts, as you guys are always so good at sharing your perspective. So really appreciate it. And then let's just say, just for, craps and giggles, that we don't have the number one pick, right? For next year. I know we're not even in training camp yet. And yes, we're already talking about the 2026 NHL draft. Welcome to rebuild life. So everyone knows that the name is Gavin McKenna. But let's be honest, the odds that the Blackhawks pick first overall again, pretty slim. So today we're going to be looking at 6 other names Blackhawks fans should absolutely have on their radar. Now, could the Hawks still land McKenna if things go south? Sure, of course. But realistically, they're probably drafting somewhere between picks 2 through 8. And that's where Cam Robinson at Elite Prospects comes in. He just put out a great piece highlighting 6 players who could challenge for the top of the 2026 draft class. And these aren't just secondary names. These are legit top-tier prospects. And yes, a couple of them already have ties to the Blackhawks organization. So here are 6 names to circle in ink, because they're all going. First off, we have Keaton Verhoff, right-handed defenseman, North Dakota. A right-shot defenseman heading to North Dakota, big, mobile, and raw talent for days. If the Hawks are looking to load up even more on the blue line, Verhoff is a name that'll be in the mix. All right. Second, we have Ivar Stenberg, a winger out of Frölunda, SHL, out in Sweden. Swedish winger with skill and smarts. Producing in the SHL at a young age is always a good sign. If the Hawks want another high-end European forward, Stenberg might be the guy. And then we got Ryan Rubrek, left winger out of Niagara in the OHL. One of the more complete power forwards in this class. Think size, grit, and finish, the kind of profile that fits nicely next to a player like Bedard or Nazar down the line. Another Ryan Lynn, right-handed defenseman in Vancouver, WHL. Another skilled right-shot defenseman. Yes, the Hawks have a ton of young D, but Lynn brings a different flavor. Think of speed, vision, and offensive upside. Sounds very promising. Tynan Lawrence, center out of Muskegon, USHL. Here's your fun connection. Lawrence played with Vaclav Netrashil last season in Muskegon. Big-bodied center, a strong two-way presence. Might not have McKenna's flash, but he's got the foundation to be a top 10 pick. So that's very interesting. And lastly, Ethan Belchets, left winger out of Windsor, OHL. Sorry about that. I didn't quiet my phone. Another fun tie-in. Belchets will be playing this season with AJ Spellacy, another Hawks prospect. He's a big winger, heavy shot, and just starting to scratch the surface of his potential. So, while everyone's hyper-focused on Gavin McKenna, and rightfully so, don't be shocked if one of these 6 names start creeping into that top 3 conversation. And if the Hawks don't win the lottery next June, these are the type of players you start building your board around now. Two-way centers, dynamics, defensemen, heavy wingers. This class has a bit of everything. And for a team that's still shaping its identity, still building from the ground up, that kind of variety is a gift. So here's my question. If the Hawks miss on McKenna, hopefully we don't, but obviously there's a really good chance we do, especially if we go from 61 points to 75 points. Yeah. Who would you want them to take? Do we go for defense again? Or do we target size and scoring on the wing? Let me know in your thoughts. It's always fun to hear from you guys. And lastly, talking about hot takes, we got some hot takes. So Step Boomer 01, I believe, is a repeat offender, I believe. He says, I think Bedard, so we're talking about the Olympic team. Yesterday we talked about Bedard possibly going to the Olympics with Canada. Step Boomer says, I think Bedard has a good chance to make the team. Remember, the Olympics are being played in Italy on Olympic-sized rink. A larger rink is better for skilled players and leads to less grabbing and physical stuff. Really excellent, good point there, Mr. or Mrs. Step Boomer. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Larger ice, more area to move, less confined, more speed. Yeah, it's going to be right up Bedard's alley. So I hope that he makes the team. I hope that it's USA, Canada in the finals, and I hope that USA wins, so that Kane gets his medal, Bedard gets his experience. That'll be awesome. And then another repeat offender, I'm assuming Mr. Spencer Hawk, 9742 says, and he's talking here about Wyatt Kaiser. We talked about Wyatt Kaiser yesterday, trying to get him on, signing him up, which we think is going to happen before training camp. He says, D-men usually take longer to develop. I like his overall game. Sign him to 2 to 3 years max. Yeah. Probably be 3 years, as we talked about, right? Because we don't think it's so much the money anymore. We think it's the term. So 3 years seems to be the good middle ground, at least in my very novice estimation. So pretty cool stuff. Thank you for that, Spencer. And that's a wrap for today, folks. Thank you for continuing to let me know all your thoughts in the comments. It really does help out. I love the communication between us all. Please continue to tune in every weekday to get your daily Blackhawks download. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Really, the subscriptions are awesome. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing about the channel, because we're just trying to gain as much steam as we can to kick off this season well and support this original 6, centennial season for these guys. Best team in hockey in the best city on earth, Chicago, Chi-Town. So thank you so much for continuing to chip in and watch and just be a part of this. Really do appreciate it. Super exciting for me. I hope this season is I hope you guys are as excited about it as I am, because I certainly am. So really appreciate it. That does it for today, folks. I'm PJ, and I will see you next time on the Blackhawks Daily.